Alright, in this video I'm going to show you guys how to create a stacked wall. So first of all, I start a new Revit file, project file, and I'm going to go up to the wall command, and I'm going to choose an architectural wall. And I'm going to start out with a generic wall, and I'm going to edit the type, and I'm going to make a duplicate of that, and I'm going to call this vinyl siding. So basically with this first step, I'm just creating a new wall type, a custom wall type. I'm going to make this the substrate. I don't really need a material category for that. I'm going to make the thickness a half an inch for the substrate. And then on the inside, I'm going to have the finish as drywall. I'm going to make the inside structure 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to add one more layer for the finish material. And the finished material, I'm actually going to go into my materials. I'm going to come down here, find siding, clapboard. Once I do that, I'm going to add it to my project, hit the little arrow button. And I'm going to just select that and say OK. I'm going to make this 3/4 of an inch thick. And I've basically created a custom wall with vinyl siding, an OSB substrate, 5.5 inch stud, and drywall on the inside. I say OK, OK again. And once I have that made, I'm going to go ahead and make yet another wall. Click on the Architecture tab, choose Architectural Wall, and this time I'm going to go ahead and start with vinyl siding. I'm going to edit the type, and I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to make this one called Stone Wall. I'm going to edit the structure. And I could change a lot of this stuff. All I'm basically going to change is the thickness of my siding. I'm going to change this to 2 inch. And the material, I'm going to go through and I'm going to find a stone that I can use. So whenever I come down here, I'll choose stone, add it to the project, and then once I have it added to the project, I'm going to look at the actual properties of that material. I'm going to click the box that says use render appearance. And under the appearance, I'm actually going to go in, I'm going to change the image used for the stones. I'll scroll down here to masonry finishes. And for now, I'm just going to choose this pattern right here. And I will say OK. And now I have two different wall types. I say OK again. And I'm just going to draw a couple of those walls so we can see what we have. Make this realistic. Fine. Let's bump up the scale a little bit. And then I'm going to choose the other one, the vinyl siding one. I'm going to draw it right beside it. Change the view to 3D so you can see what we're working with. this realistic. And on the one side, we have the vinyl siding. On the other side, we have the stone hatch. Since this is a relatively short wall, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to change the properties of the stone to make it look more realistic. So I'm going to just click on my Manage tab, Materials, and whenever I look at stone, click on Appearance. I'm going to click on the image itself, which will bring this little box up here, and I'm going to change my scale from 2 feet, change this back to 0, and change my scale from 2 feet to 6 feet. We'll try 60 inches. And I'll say done. I'll go ahead and click apply. And take a look at it. Looks a little bit better. Might be a little bit big now, but we'll leave it like that for now. So basically, to get a stacked wall, all I need to do is, once again, click on the Architecture tab, go into the walls. I can choose my architectural wall, and as one of those walls, I can go down through here, and I can choose a stacked wall. And I'm going to start out with so whenever I go into my wall, I should be able to click on Architectural Wall and come all the way down to Stacked Walls, and there should be a wall below it. But since there isn't, what I can also do is I can go to my project browser and I can come down here and expand the stacked walls under the families. So basically I went to the families, looked for walls, and then looked for stacked walls, and I noticed that there was exterior brick over CMU with metal stud. I just simply right clicked on it and did a duplicate of it, and it was called brick over CMU with metal stud 2. I'm going to go ahead and rename this, and I'm going to call this stone and vinyl wall. And then I can right click on this and I can look at my type properties. And this little dialog box comes up. It's kind of like the wall properties, but this is for stacked walls. So whenever I look at this, my first option here is the top part of the wall, which in this case is the brick on metal stud. What I can do is I can use this caret pull down, and I can go through and pick out the wall that I want to be on top, in this case the vinyl siding. And for the bottom part, we're going to use the stone wall. And for the height of the stone wall, I'm going to make this 3 foot 6 inches instead, just so you can see that that changes. I go ahead and I say OK. OK again. And I should be able to choose stone and vinyl from my wall types now. So whenever I look through here, I am not seeing my stone and vinyl wall type. So it's saying whenever I go to choose the wall, I can't actually find it within the walls down in this selection here. So what I actually had to do is come down to my stacked wall family, right click on this and create an instance. And then I can draw the wall at that point. And if I click on it, the wall does come up. And whenever I choose my wall, now I can actually use that wall within the plan view. And as I zoom in, you can see that the first part of the wall is stone, the second part of the wall is the vinyl siding. And the last thing that I'm going to show you is how to just put a little cap block on there. So if I click on this wall, I could go into my structure, but I'm not going to be able to put any kind of reveals or sweeps into that. So what I actually have to do is I have to open up my stone wall, edit the type, edit the structure, and if I click on reveals, now a lot of times whenever you first open this up, all these will be grayed out and you won't be able to select them, so all you have to get them to be active, all you have to do is switch this to section view, and often the preview isn't even showing, so you click on preview, change it to section view, and then you can click on sweeps. I'm just going to go ahead and add a profile. I'm going to come up to the default profile, and I'm going to use a 5-inch sill precast. And for the material, I'm just going to go ahead and use a concrete material. So I'll go down through here, find something that looks good. I'll use the precast concrete, and that's basically the image that I have. I'm going to leave that alone. Say OK. And I want this to show up 3 feet 6 inches above the base. And I'm probably going to have to play with this offset also. I'm going to say OK. And you can see it's set back in a little bit. I want it to come out just a little bit. So again, I'll click on my sweeps. And I'm going to try offsetting this 2 inches to the exterior side. And I go ahead and say OK. OK again. And I basically added this to the wall type. And it looks like it's using the stone material. I'm going to click on this once again, edit type. Actually, I'm going to go into the stone wall that I created, edit type, edit the structure, look at my sweeps, and somehow it got switched to stone instead of this precast concrete. I think I did is I don't think I added that material to the project. Go down here to concrete, precast, click the little button to add that to the project. And I'll go ahead and keep both. Select precast concrete, apply, OK, 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 and now I have a little ledge there where the transition between stone and vinyl siding is. That was basically an example of how to do a stacked wall, 2 different material types, 2 different wall types, as well as how to put a sweep in.